This week, the Middle East has entered one of its most dangerous moments in years. Massive explosions have rocked Iran's capital Tehran as Israel launched a new wave of airstrikes targeting military and strategic sites across the country. According to multiple international reports, Israeli fighter jets carried out a broad series of strikes on key locations, including missile facilities, military bases, and infrastructure in and around Tehran. The attacks are part of a major military campaign that began in late February, dramatically escalating tensions across the region. Thick smoke was seen rising from several parts of the city as residents woke up to another day of bombardment. Iranian authorities confirmed that several sites were hit, while emergency services rushed to the affected areas. But the conflict did not stop there. Iran quickly responded by launching missiles toward Israel and targeting U.S. military assets in the region. Air raid sirens were reported across Israeli cities as missile defense systems worked to intercept incoming threats. As the fighting intensified, political messaging from both sides began to send confusing signals. On one hand, U.S. President Donald Trump issued a strong warning to Tehran. He declared that Iran would be hit very hard and demanded what he called unconditional surrender. However, at the same time, officials in Washington suggested the United States does not want an endless war and hinted that diplomatic options could still exist. Analysts say these mixed signals have created uncertainty about the real objectives of the campaign. Meanwhile, Israel has continued its military operations, saying the goal is to destroy Iran's missile infrastructure and prevent the country from developing nuclear weapons. The situation has already caused heavy casualties. Iranian officials say more than 1,000 people have been killed since the conflict began, with thousands more injured. And with every new strike, the fear of a wider regional war continues to grow. But while Washington sends mixed messages about the future of the conflict, Tehran is also sending its own confusing signals. And that is where the situation becomes even more complicated. We continue to unpack the developments in this rapidly changing situation. While Israeli airstrikes continue to hit targets across Iran, the response from Tehran has been equally complex. Iran's leadership has publicly declared that the country will never surrender and will defend itself against what it calls foreign aggression. Iranian officials warned that attacks on their territory would be met with strong retaliation. Within hours of the latest Israeli strikes, Iran launched another wave of missiles toward Israel, forcing millions of civilians to take shelter as air defense systems intercepted incoming rockets. But behind the scenes, reports suggest a very different message may also be emerging. Some Iranian officials have hinted that diplomatic mediation could still be possible if the violence stops. These signals suggest that while Iran is preparing for continued conflict, it may also be exploring ways to avoid a full-scale regional war. This is why analysts say both sides are sending mixed messages. On one side, military action is escalating rapidly. On the other side, political leaders are leaving the door open for negotiations. Meanwhile, the broader region is becoming increasingly involved. Several Middle Eastern countries hosting U.S. military bases have raised security alerts, while global leaders are calling for de-escalation before the conflict spirals out of control. Experts warn that if the fighting continues, it could disrupt global oil supplies, destabilize the Middle East, and potentially draw more countries into the conflict. For now, Israel says its operations will continue until Iran's military capabilities are significantly weakened. Iran, meanwhile, insists it will respond to every attack. And as explosions continue to shake Tehran and missiles fly across the region, the world is watching closely to see whether this crisis leads to negotiations. This remains a developing story. We will be back with part 3 as we continue to follow the situation. Stay with us.